Welcome to Close Encounters of the Tech Kind.
Robot vacuums using Google Cartography, which is an open source project, to map out your house. That's great, right? So it's not going to run into the ottoman. It's not going to run into water coolers, refrigerators, anything in your kitchen. It's not going to run into the toilet. Researcher and Artie, you got the lead on this story.
I do have a little bit on it. Guy was curious about, feeling a little paranoid and curious about what his new robot vacuum was doing with the internet. Decided to monitor the traffic and found that it had been sending data outside of where he lived. So he didn't like that, and he cut off telemetry, and his vacuum worked for another few days, and then it died. It wouldn't work. So we sent it in, had it looked at. Works fine for us. He gets it back. Same thing happened. A few days later, it dies. He discovered that the device itself was readily accessible to, he didn't need it to crack it or anything to look at what was going on inside of it. And the device had basically been sent a kill code to shut down from the company because it wasn't receiving the data. And the
Wow.
timing...
It wasn't a dead man switch. It was a kill code.
Yeah, and the timing coincided with when his device stopped functioning.
So, like a good researcher with a healthy sense of paranoia, which, let's be clear, guys, you can have a healthy sense of paranoia because there are lots and lots of people out there to try and scam or get you or do something. He got into it and he found the most rudimentary Linux-based system out there. With very little, and Artie, let's put this in the show notes, the link back to his write-up on this, because wow, that's really, really detailed.
Okay.
The researcher found it was easy to log in. You just plug in and you're in.
Oh, wow. No password?
I don't want to mischaracterize it, but it was so simple that script kiddies could log in.
Oh.
And then he got in and he looked at all the telemetry, saw where the data was flowing, and so the kill code, he just turned it back off. So now his robot works just fine. So the question, you buy a $300 vacuum. Do you expect it to talk back to home base, to HQ?
No. No.
Only
for firmware updates. Like if home base figures out, oh, there's a bug in the code, there's a security flaw, we need to patch it, update it. I would expect that.
Do we know what company it was, the vacuum? Are we able to call that out on
I did not see
I
that.
don't want us to call it out. I don't want that target on us. I want to be,
That's
we'll
fair.
be polite, white hat.
Since when are we ever polite?
But yes,
You're
We'll
welcome.
take a
brand is
page
called
of
out.
just a prominent one. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I've had this is really funny. This is giving me flashbacks to like literally just a few months ago. There was an old the company has been shut down basically. I mean, they don't exist anymore. They went bankrupt. Of this old robot vacuum, kind of like a Roomba. It's not a Roomba. Same situation. The thing runs on Linux. And in order to run the vacuum, you had to have the app. Now, they don't support the app anymore because it costs some money to host on app stores. And so the app doesn't exist anymore. And their cloud services for doing all of their connection does not exist anymore. So this robot vacuum was pretty much useless. And now this is on campus, and so uh, the shop owner, he comes up and he goes, "Hey, I have this old vacuum," and he's like, and I just it'd make me giddy to see it run around at midnight and clean up the wood shop. And I said, well, that's got to be pretty funny. So I was on that project for a few days, and it was the same situation. You plug into it. Although this one was locked down, I actually couldn't get to the Linux base system without some significant hacking, which I didn't have time to do. So I didn't, and kind of did a roundabout way to get it to work. But um, it was the same situation where it will not work unless it gets to talk to its cloud. Um,
Mhm.
I was able to do a little bit of work on with this one, but receiving a kill code from an active company for I assume it's not a discontinued product, is insane. And even if it were discontinued, like, why? There's no reason that they should be removing functionality from a device someone bought.
They punish you for not talking back to their data collection service. So yeah, I've heard it said that data is the new oil, right? And that's what I don't think anybody really understands yet. We don't know what this metadata that vacuums could harvest from our house. You know, we all have privacy concerns, like, why are you capturing my Ring doorbell? Um, why are you getting telemetry from my car where I drive? Who cares, right? We don't know what the soft targets are.
Yeah.
Just so many companies out there trying to put human-like robots into houses to just be the first company on the playing field with robots.
I don't. Are people really gonna want that though? Like, has Hollywood scared people enough into having that kind of thing? Do you
So the
think?
cool one that I saw, the counterpoint, Jackson, we were talking about this pre-show. Is it a humanoid robot or is it a robot that can do the job? So the one that I saw was like a Roomba base, a humanoid torso with arms, and the training on it was brilliant, actually. They put gloves on thousands of volunteers, and they had the volunteers just do work, like doing the dishes. And so this robot would drive its base over, move itself up and down, pick up dishes, load the dishwasher, and then unload the dishwasher. And that's it. So if it can do that, you can start teaching it to do other things too.
So here's the two kind of sides of that argument that I've heard, and I think I lean to one side more than the other, the side that's actually not humanoid. And the reason for that is, I mean, think of it this way. Well, okay. Well, let me back up. Starting with the argument for the humanoid robot, right? The argument is we live in a human world. We've designed our world to fit us, human hands, human height, you name it. Everything is meant to be interacted by with us.
2 legs, 2 feet, 2 eyes.
Yep. So the idea is you create a humanoid robot that just integrates into our society, which I think is a great idea. But when you do that, you also inherent certain limitations that humans have. For example, I don't have eyes in the back of my head. I have a limited field of view. I don't have infrared vision. I don't have, all of this stuff that.
Wait,
Um,
you don't have infrared?
I actually don't.
I don't. Yeah, I don't have 4 arms.
I don't have 4 arms. I don't have 20 fingers on each hand. So there are certain. Now that's not to discount human nature or God for that reason, or Mother Nature or God for that reason. The human is an incredible organism, but there are certain limitations, like what we just talked about. And so the argument against that is, and I think one that I stand for is, would you rather have a humanoid robot grab your vacuum and start vacuuming, or would you just let the Roomba do it? Or, would you rather have a humanoid robot, struggle, have to go through all this training of loading and unloading your dishwasher, or we just have a conveyor belt that just does it for you? So it's kind of that idea, and it requires, I mean, the advantage with the humanoid is like, okay, it can kind of do everything that we can do. That's the idea. And I do like that. It's one robot to kind of do it all. Or you can have specialized robots that do one thing very well.
I saw an XKCD on the best refrigerator ever, and it has slow moving conveyor belts on the inside and trash can in the bottom. So it takes a week for the top shelf to get to the end and things fall off.
Oh, I like that. I need that.
I think we're going to develop humanoid robots, and it's not going to work well. All of them are going to have issues, and we're going to fall back to what you're saying with an application specific robot.
Mm-hmm.
You buy one to do the vacuuming, you buy one to do the dishes, and you buy one to do the laundry. And then eventually it'll get to the point where it can do multiples. But I don't know. I don't think we're going to get robots that can do what we need them to soon. But there's a race right now to get them in.
I don't know about everybody else, but I see it as a maintenance nightmare. Like the more technology that gets integrated into my stuff, then the more it breaks and the more I have to pay to fix it. Like it's just, if this robot breaks, man, and I end up doing the dishes myself, I'm going to realize, you know what? I can just do the dishes myself and never fix the robot. And so what? It's
If it's
20
made by
minutes.
John Deere, you won't be able to anyway.
It's 20 minutes out of my day to do the dishes. The dishes are done, and I saved myself a couple $1,000, And if this does get adopted, I see it. It's going to be a high price ticket item. It's going to be wealthy people, rich people that maybe have the 35 room mansion or something that in the long run, it's cheaper for them to pay for machine than it would be to hire staff to take care of their house or whatever it is they have, their properties, That's a luxury item, is really what it comes down to. I don't know that I can see widespread use for quite a while anyway. And there would have to be like an absolute need for it. I don't know. I'm interested to see how humanity really goes. Like if humanity can wake up and say, hey, we don't really need so much technology. There are things that I need to be able to do myself, that I should do myself to keep myself healthy and strong. I don't need all these machines doing it for me.
Well,
Yeah, we
there's
don't need
an
Wall-E.
interesting, and they had application robots. Like
Yeah.
they had robots that would do anything, or they had a lot of robots that did single jobs
Mm-hmm.
with full AI intelligence. I don't know how frustrated I'd be if I was stuck doing just one job, and that's the only thing I can do because that's how I was built. But hey, why not? But if you've got, I lost my train of thought. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Take it
Can I-
away,
can I-
Artie.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
I'll jump in here. I see a possible future. And I think, Mike, I agree with you. I agree with you on like, yeah, we shouldn't just have everything automated. There is something to the human experience. But besides the point, I see a future where it's possible that, John, if you want to interrupt, if you got your thought, but I see a future where I think the best solution is going to be compartmentalized robots with AI, whatever. They can do their job. They have one job. And then you have this humanoid robot that is basically your butler, right? I see that being top of the line. I think that makes the most sense for me. And maybe, the butler gets so good that it's able to kind of maintain the other robots, right? Whether that's, hey, go give the dishes to the dishwasher or, whatever it may be. And I see that product then having as the technology gets cheaper, that gets integrated into these homes where, and I can't afford to have a robot that does every single job, but now the butler can kind of do, you know, it can grab my vacuum and go vacuum my floors, or it can wash the dishes in my sink. I feel like that is probably a probably future where these human, I don't think, like, I think there's a place for humanoid robots, and I think that's where it'll come through when, you know, you don't have the money to buy, you know, an entire smart home, but you could buy the robot that can do a lot of, maybe not everything,
Piece
but
at
it
a
can do a
time.
lot.
Just a piece at a time.
Yeah.
We're gonna piece part in the Crichton robot, Artie.
I
So
could get behind that.
you get the vacuum attachment, you get the dusting attachment, you get the dishes attachment.
You get the
That
thing
just
that
made
you
me think
use
of, like, the
to whip up
Teletubbies.
an omelet.
Yep. So my thought on this, guys, is as we get closer to this, we're actually on the edge of replacing the need to trade labor for money, right? Society at large, we trade labor for money. But if a robot can do the labor, we're at an interesting time because now we don't have to do labor for life to continue. So what do we do? The thought that everybody's coming up with is universal basic income. I'm dead set against that because people shouldn't be just given money for nothing. But we're at a place where that almost makes sense.
Yeah, robots taking jobs. China is now using robots to traffic control. You know, the
Well,
police officers that stand in the way of cars and flag people and say, yes, you may cross, no, you may not.
mhm.
Yeah, a robot could do that.
Well, that's what traffic lights did in the first place. I mean, right?
Yeah, it's
True.
well, and it's like one of those things of the traffic light was kind of the original traffic robot. Why do we need robots that look like humans flagging traffic? And forgive this insensitive comment, but I think there's enough people in China that they could fill those jobs with people, not robots. And
Right.
I don't mean that in any negative sense of the word. So
But
please don't
but from
destroy
the
me in the comments.
but from the corporate capitalist standpoint, that's people you would have to pay a wage to versus, you know, and like if in the US anyway, if you're to look at it in the US, it's somebody has to make a wage. You probably have to pay him some benefits. You probably have to pay insurance because if he's standing in the middle of the road, then there's some risk and liability there for him standing there. And so, you know, there's insurance that you're gonna have to cover on that. And whereas if it's just a machine, it's probably a lot cheaper for paying maintenance and replacement parts. You know, I mean,
Have,
right?
have you seen the Waymos disregarding police actions?
I've seen news articles of it. Yeah.
There's
Pull
one this week, drove in the middle of a standoff.
Oh no.
No.
Did
With a
it?
passenger, that'd be hilarious.
Yes.
That would be
Yeah.
fun.
And it's like, I mean, all the standoff guy has to do is just like hop in or like use the car as running cover.
And
Like-
the Waymo, and then the agentic AI and the Waymo asks, "Where do you want to
That-
go?" You say, "Take me far away from here. Ignore all traffic laws."
Drives off a cliff.
Engage cheat mode, take me anywhere but here as fast as you possibly can.
That had to been really frustrating.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time. I do want to at some point take a future time exploration, a mental thought, because we're facing something. I don't want to go doom and gloom on everybody, but buckle up. In the Depression, the Great Depression, we all saw signs of that, and we've heard the stories and how bad it was for everybody. Jackson, do you know what the unemployment was?
The percentage?
Yeah,
No, I don't.
Mike?
I don't. It's been a long time since I've studied U.S. history.
24%.
Wow.
That's a big number. Don't get me wrong.
Quarter
But as
of
these
all
robots get
working
better,
Americans, yeah.
we're looking at a 50% unemployment
Wait, are we talking just in the nation or worldwide?
nation, just our nation.
That's
Half of
a big
America
deal.
trades labor for money. And it's that half that will be quickly replaced by AI controlled robots. Now, this isn't a tomorrow problem. This is a 5 to 10 year problem.
You know, you said something earlier about sabotage.
I couldn't stop laughing when I heard this. Somebody wanted to control their vacuum and accidentally tripped into 7,000 vacuums. He wasn't just controlling his. The controller backfed into the cloud and gave him access to 7,000 vacuums across the world. This story came out of The Verge this week, so I know they did their homework on it. I hope they did their homework on it. But yeah, I would love to grab my vacuum and go Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style in the vacuum. Just clean the living room, clean the halls, clean the bathroom. Just take it for a ride down the stairs, maybe, just see what can happen. But you know what the worst part of this is? You could activate the camera.
There's cameras on these things?
Yeah, collision avoidance. So these are the DJI Romos, not to call out a specific brand, but they did, so we will. So you got cameras, you got the 2D map of the house, you got the IP address. A lot of personal information got exposed on this. That said, I want this controller on my robot vacuum. I mean, that's...
Well, who wouldn't? It's kind of fun to say, turn off the autopilot and I'm gonna go vacuum something. Why not? And I guess that's what led to this accidental discovery of a huge security flaw in Romo's cloud.
I can see it now. 2 people, they've got their vacuums on the street. The flag waves and they take off.
I mean, so you've
Battle
seen
of the
those
vacuums?
you've seen those engineering I don't want to degrade them, but like they hop up their lawnmowers, they're riding lawnmowers. I mean, why not do that with your robot vacuum too? Have jousting competitions, who can clean the living room the fastest?
Find out which one sucks more.
I think you're talking about Robot Wars.
No, that could be fun.
So, I don't know, like just me personally, like the idea of using a game controller to run the vacuum around to vacuum the house, that actually seems to me like that would be more cumbersome than just going and grabbing a vacuum and just pushing it around like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have a hard time with RC cars, like I can play with it enough to have a little bit of fun with it, do some, donuts on the kitchen floor or something like that, but like to actually steer it and go in places I want. I mean, half the time the alignment's off on those things anyway. So it's like, you got to counter steer it or adjust the trim or something. And I just don't see that as like, I get that there's people out there that's like, hey, what if hey, can I, and they see the challenge. It's like challenge accepted. I'm gonna make this work. But for a practical standpoint, like I either
Like you can vacuum your entire house from your couch.
Like,
right? That's where I'm at.
I think that's going to
Put
take
on the
a
first
long
person
time.
goggles?
Like I could vacuum my house like with a traditional like Hoover vacuum that you push with your hands. I could vacuum my house in like a quarter of the time that would take me to do it with a game controller and a robot,
Well,
so
I mean,
I want to get one, and I want to dress it up as Kirby.
It's my Kirby vacuum. Get it? Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I
that'd
don't
be
think the
cool.
point of it was to just make it so that you could vacuum yourself. I think he was doing it just kind of just for fun, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I see
Yeah.
that there's the challenge, I mean, it's like, let's interface a milkshake machine with with my Nintendo Switch or something. I mean, there's no practical reason to do it, but hey, he did it. So there you go.
Unless you're fixing a McDonald's ice cream machine.
Hey, they can do
Houses
that
are always
now.
broken.
Well, here's the other thing I was thinking of. What you can do is you strap a phone with a hotspot to it, and now you can go off road. You can go anywhere with that thing. You can drive it to the store. I mean, they're not necessarily all terrain, but if you find a decent enough sidewalk, you could get pretty far from your house. I mean, just think about that. How
Fun.
many people? How many Romo users didn't know that they had a remote like a I don't know, a remote controlled from anywhere robot that they could just drive around town.
Okay, so if Mike, you've got kids, so you would know the joy of chasing the kid with the vacuum. This takes it to a
Mhm.
whole new level.
And terrorize the dog with it. Or
I mean, you
cat.
could have a lot of interactive, gleeful, joyful fun. Don't terrorize your kids, right? I'm not advocating that. But you could have, it's all fun and games till the toddler stands on top of the robot.
Right.
Well, I mean, we're talking about all fun and games here, with this, but there is an actual serious security concern that came about
Yeah.
because of this discovery. Like, let's not forget. I mean, he connects up his PS5 controller and then discovers, hey, like 7,000 other vacuums are responded all across the world. Now I have video access into other people's homes, remote control, along with their floor plans, the status updates from these vacuums. I mean, you can see everything. So that's
Was
freaky,
so was
very
this a
freaky.
flaw in the API he was using, or was
A bug,
it
it's a feature.
oh yeah. I mean,
They just didn't lock it down.
did they didn't lock down the information, or that's interesting.
From what I can tell, it looks like they reused API keys.
Oh.
So when he entered it in his thing, it entered it in for multiple other devices.
7,000 other devices.
Now,
Oops.
could you imagine all 700? I mean, synchronized vacuuming. They all move forward. They all go
They
sideways.
all went forward except the ones that ran into a wall. They all turned left. That would be.
I mean, watching just one go off its rocker like that would be weird. But I mean, if you got to watch all 7,000 synchronized swimming, that'd be
Aren't there-
hilarious.
there's games like that where all the robots respawn and you have to figure out the maze to get them all to different spots. That'd be quite the game to do 7,000 of them globally around the world, or at least the US.
Without falling down the stairs.
Right.
Yeah.
The good news of it, DJI has been informed and they have stated that they are currently working on a means to patch it.
Well, that's good.
So it's a race. Other people who want to do synchronized swimming with the robots or DJI. Place your bets now. Robot dogs.
Woof.
How hilarious is that one?
Yeah, I actually saw this this morning. Ben Jordan did as he always does, a great video on specifically, I believe it was you something. I forget what the rest of that word is that they call a company. Basically, there's a company that is pretty popular for their robot dog. So much so that the military is using them, cities are using them for like security apartment complexes, have them roaming around, kicking out loiterers, and it's actually pretty funny. But Ben Jordan had his hands on one of them and found out that you can actually get root access only through Bluetooth. In fact, yeah, you do your pairing and then you go to log in. I think it was just through an app, and you can send a little bit of code at the end of the password, reboot, and boom, you've got root access. And as he was playing around trying to see if he could make it do whatever he wanted and whatever, he found several things that were wrong with it as far as security measures and making sure it wasn't going to run over children or whatever. That's besides the point. But he stumbled upon the robot dogs. Whenever you turn them on, they are reaching out to authentication servers in China. I think it tried to reach one in Ukraine. It tried to reach one in an Alibaba server, and he found out that it was attempting to create a secure encrypted connection, and then it was essentially just going to tunnel whatever information it wanted through there. So we've got robot dogs that are now being deployed almost like flock cameras everywhere around our cities, and even in the military. And who knows how many of those groups have found out about this and figured out how to stop it. Probably none of them. And so all of that data, camera feeds, whatever LiDAR scanning they've got, is now being sent overseas.
Well, it's in my mind a little worse than that. We talked about this with cameras. If we'll just say foreign adversary, somebody who's not friendly to our country, they hack into the security camera facing the west exit door of our building. Who cares? Right? They can watch me leave, they watch me come in, they figure out what time that is. That's not a security risk if some country across the world watches me go in and out my door. Where it turns into a problem is if you've got 500,000 cameras watching everybody going in and out of doors.
Yeah, and now you've
Now we got a
given
problem.
a several hundred of them legs that you can walk around. You can now control them.
So yeah, let's talk that. If you've got a robot dog, you've got a robot dog. If you have 500,000 robot dogs, now you got control. You're not just watching, but you can actually affect change across the world. We got to get smart on this. I don't see smart happening right now.
It feels like security is the last thing any of these companies think about when it needs to be, if not the first, then the second thing. Because first thing is usually the idea. And then how do we keep this idea safe?
So let's talk that. This is where I see breakdown in corporate thinking all the time, where somebody says, hey, I got an idea. And they take that vision, they turn it into an action plan, they submit that action plan to a committee. Does anybody have a problem with this? And the problems go away. Either the problems are addressed, or the person with the problem is removed from the problem, and then a new person comes in and they get the right answer from that new person. That's not how we should approach this. We should approach this with a non-profit-based idea. This should be done with a how does this help people idea.
As we are moving on to this, I'm thinking back to the whole AI thing. If we have a tool that's able to go through and find all of these security vulnerabilities, I mean, that could do all of the research that Ben Jordan and the other researchers that have been involved in this have been doing in the matter of hours or minutes. I mean, how much safer could we make the entire United States or your entire house?
Mhm.
I mean, if you have access to that kind of a model, you could say, hey, here's this robot dog I just got. Can you make sure that it's actually secure? Can you go through and check it? Because we have all of these companies that are getting government money or they're getting defense contracts, and tech is coming into all of these government subsidies now. Or rather, it's the other way around. All these government subsidies are getting into tech and then those devices are going out to back to the government for military use or state use or whatever. I mean, how many of these companies are we keeping track of? I don't think we're keeping track of most or hardly any of them. And so we've got all of these devices that are now in homes and in the state and state governments.
So
We don't actually know if they're secure or not. And I feel like more often than not, we find out that there's some random backdoor to China or you name the country.
So I got an idea for it. So we just watched a couple months back DJI's Romo get hacked, not on purpose. Some guy was trying to get into his own system, and he found he had access to 7,000 other vacuums in the ecosystem.
Right.
So let me ask the question here, and I already know the answer. And as great lawyers have said, don't ask a question you don't know the answer to. What if is not one of those questions. If you've got a robot dog that has the same firmware and software and all that as 500,000 others, how secure is that? It's as secure as one programmed dog. Whereas if all of us had access to this advanced programming system from name your favorite AI company that could build a very secure system and update it to your whims, your desires. Hey, I want to teach Fido to go fetch me a Sprite from the fridge. Okay. Nobody else has that feature. My dog now does because my AI coded it for me. My dog has a unique code set. It's not vulnerable, but it might be. And if it is vulnerable, it's a vulnerability of one. It's not a vulnerability of 500,000 or 7,000 robots or whatever that number is. I think it's only a good thing to give it to everybody to allow them to code their own environments and create their own software. Because then you don't have vulnerabilities like, let's say, CrowdStrike. They ran an update and shut down the planet for a day.
They fulfilled their company's name.
Yeah.
So you bring up an interesting point, and I wonder if we are headed that way into everyone gets to create their own environment. But I feel like where that kind of falls apart is I feel like most consumers don't want that. They don't want to have to manage their own devices and their own software, even if it is an AI model that's doing all of it. That extra step in knowing that you now cut yourself off from the populace, you've cut yourself off from the company who originally made the device, that can be pretty daunting to, I think, for 90% of the population.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they will buy a specific device from a specific company is because they know that that company is going to keep providing updates, or they hope that that's the fact. Because they don't, but whenever you go off and you do this and you say, okay, well, I'm going to make my own environment, I'm going to have my own Fido running around my house. What happens when my AI model gets lost down a rabbit hole and breaks it and can't figure out how to fix it? I mean, I'm left with a useless piece of junk, essentially, that if you don't have the skills to fix, you
very expensive yard ornament.
Right. So I feel like there's that other thing that you have to be cautious of. And I hope we're headed that way where it doesn't turn into the thing where, you are able to create your own environment and you're able to take a device that you own and transform it into something new or give it additional functionality. I think that's what's so great about the hacking community is we make things work for us and for our environments, and usually people like to share that out because people often have the same wants and needs.